What's up guys, welcome to a new video. I'm back on YouTube. I said this summer I wanted to start making videos again. Of course, I'm a massive football fan. I follow the Belgian League as well as the Premier League, World Cup now of course. So I really need to do something with it. Because do I consider myself as a football expert? Maybe, just because I watch football, I play football, my whole life is in the picture of football. So today the first video again, and what's it better to talk about than my favorite club? Even got a jersey out, Chelsea. Today we're going to talk about Chelsea, past season, the transfer window and next season. So basically how should and how will Chelsea line up next season. This video is divided in several parts. So first let's look at the ranking from last season. Then I have the lineup from Chelsea which they mostly used last season and the alternative lineup because they switched between two lineups. So I'll explain that from last season with Enzo Maresca and with Liam Rossinier. And then of course the backups which also played and had a role in the squad. Then I'll rank all players from last season and also tell should we keep them, should we sell them in my opinion. Look at the transfers they already done because Chelsea are famously known for their transfers. Oh, they sold 20 players, they bought 20 players, and yes, already 11 players are signed, which include players that come back from loan, so it's not only new signings, but there were two guys on that list which I've never heard of. I'm a Chelsea fan, I follow the news, I follow Fabrizio Romano, all those transfer gurus, but I didn't even know them that they signed them for 10 million. And then I'm going to look at what the squad for next season looks like, and also what I would say the lineup will be under Xabi Alonso. So for now, like and subscribe, we really appreciate that, and let's get into the video. So first of all, let's start with the ranking. Chelsea finished 10th. They lost the last game against Sunderland, which meant Sunderland qualified for Europa League, which is an incredible achievement because they of course got promoted last season, and Chelsea fell short. Now they didn't have the best season. Surely Chelsea, the last years, it's ups and downs, but in my opinion they did deserve European football. Surely because they were in a title race until, don't know on top of my head, but until November, December, maybe January. They were in a title race. They were a couple of points of Arsenal. They were second in the league for a while. They were actually looking good. They were playing some good football. They won against Liverpool. They drew against City, but that was later in the season, I believe. And in the Champions League, of course, they qualified in the top 8. They beat Barcelona at home. So it was not a poor season. If you look 10th now, you say, Chelsea, what a poor season. In my opinion, it wasn't really that poor. But at the end of the day, if you don't make enough points for European football, you don't deserve it. That's also how it goes. Now, Chelsea last year, this is the lineup they used if you purely look at minutes played. So minutes played, you would see Robert Sanchez in goal, backline of Cucurella, Fofana, Chalobah and Gusto. And then the midfield, I know this was not their midfield the majority of the time, that's why I made a second lineup, but more of that later. With Caicedo, Reece James, who is a right back of course, but also played in midfield, and Enzo. And then the front three was Joao Pedro of course, and on the wings we had Neto and Palmer. So this is the lineup based on most minutes played. And in my opinion, this is also their best lineup. Why? I like Palmer way more on the wing, maybe on the right rather than on the left, but for the sake of this image, doesn't matter. As we saw in the Club World Cup last summer, they went against PSG, or their entire run, Palmer had a very nice tournament, and on that right, he caused trouble to Nuno Mendes and to all defenses in the Club World Cup, so I really like him at right wing. But he started the season as attacking midfielder in that midfield trio with Enzo and Caicedo and the double pivot behind him, which is not bad. But the thing is, if you look at the names, Enzo, Caicedo, Palmer, and then on the wing you have someone like Garnacho or Gittins or Estevao, of course he's still young, but then I'd rather have Palmer on the left and shift Reece James into midfield. Reece James, unbelievable baller, so consistent. Under Rossinier, he also dropped the level, but for example against Barcelona, he did play against Barcelona. That period he was phenomenal. And then Gusto on the right, he's too good to be a backup, in my opinion. Is he the best right back or top 3 right backs in the Premier League? No, but he's too good to be a backup. And I'd rather play Gusto, James and Palmer than I play James, Palmer and Gittins or Garnacho. You get what I mean? So that's my personal conviction. Now if you look at the actual lineup, as I mentioned, we had Reece James as right back, who played the majority of the season. He was fit this season, which was great to see because he's the captain, of course, a brilliant player. With Enzo, Caicedo here, and then Palmer as 10, and then we had Garnacho the majority of the times. Now in my opinion, this is not a bad lineup if you purely look at the names and then purely the core, which I mean is the midfield trio and then the backs and the striker. This is not a bad lineup in my opinion, but in this lineup or in the squad of Chelsea last season there were two main problems in my opinion. First of all, the centre backs. It was very unlucky that Levi Colwill suffered an ACL injury. It was on training, I believe. I don't think he suffered it during Club World Cup because he played against PSG. or left-footed centre back. Very unfortunate because he is, I wouldn't say an elite centre back yet, but he surely has the potential. And he was doing very well, and we lost him for the entire season. He played the last 5 games, he was back, and he was okay, but of course he had to gain rhythm again. Fofana and Chalobah. Fofana is a weird player because he fought himself back into the starting 11 because there was a lot of competition. We have Tossen at the back, we have Badiashile at the back, Chalobah of course, and I'm probably even forgetting 2 names who started the season. He pushed himself into the starting 11 and he did well. I believe he played against Barcelona in that time period that Chelsea went unbeaten for a month, also a draw against Arsenal. He did very well, but then he became sloppy. He also has those poor mistakes sometimes, and when the team dropped in level, if we switched the path from to January, February, where also Rossinier came in, horrible manager, he also dropped in level and it was just not him. I still believe he has potential, but to be a starter in this Chelsea team, I don't know. Chalobah, I mean, he's also an okay centre back, but he's not someone you say, oh, our backline is elite or our backline is safe because we have Chalobah. He's also not like that. Robert Sanchez can also make a case for him, but I believe he was not a problem this season. Yes, he had stinkers, yes, he had mistakes, but he also had some great games, so I wouldn't be pointing at him. So first of all, no elite centre backs. Our backs are very good. Reece James, right back, or the best right back, or one of the best right backs in the world. Cucurella, he didn't have the best season, but at the start of the season, I was arguing with everyone that he is on the same level as Nuno Mendes. I apologize for that. He's obviously not, but at the start of the season, he was. Club World Cup was good. He was playing well. September, October, November, he was doing very well. Now he has other style and other left backs. He makes more fouls, etc. But it is what it is. Cucurella off to Real Madrid, of course, so he's no longer part of the project. It is what it is. The second problem is, I'm yapping way too much probably, is the wingers. Now Neto and Garnacho, they're not bad wingers, but are they good wingers for a team that want to finish in the top 4? No. Garnacho, I was against this transfer, and now in hindsight it's obviously great to see. It didn't work out. I knew that. Garnacho, I don't know, he was forced into this Chelsea team because obviously it was pushed by Fabrizio, etc. For months. Garnacho wants to make the move to Chelsea. Garnacho this, Garnacho that, and then Chelsea bought him. He had some nice games in, I believe, October, but that was also because the team was playing well, and it was not against Arsenal, against City, against Liverpool. It was against a Fulham, a Brighton. I don't know the teams exactly, but you get what I mean. And Neto, I have a love-hate relationship with him. Yes, he has those moments where he delivers an assist or has a good game, but he's everything but a big game player. In big games, he just dribbles, goes pass backwards to the back or to the midfield. He's just not him. And yeah, that's where they lack. They have an elite striker, Joao Pedro. I believe 3rd or 4th, maybe even 2nd if you don't count penalties in the Golden Boot race in the Premier League. Had an incredible season in my opinion. But then you have wingers that are scared to make a move. Garnacho, maybe he dribbles on the left, he tries to make the move, but Neto, if he sees 2 defenders, he just passes back because he's too scared. So 2 problems with the Chelsea team, in my opinion, are the centre backs and the wingers. Now, of course, let's quickly look also at the backup. Those players, most of the players also played a lot of minutes, such as Hato, surely in the second part of the season, really surprised me because first games he was very shaky, but he really grew into the season, and I'm very happy with his development. He can surely be a very good player in the future as left centre back and a 3 at the back, or as a left back, or as a left midfielder maybe even. Then we had Tossen, of course, not a fan of him, Achampong and Badiashile. Jorgensen also played some games, of course, fucked up our Champions League campaign. Gusto, obviously, Andre Santos, Lavia Asujo, and then Estevao, Gittens on the wings, and then we had Delap and Giu as backup strikers, but don't want to spend much time with this. So hopefully now you know a bit, if you're not familiar or not really following Chelsea, what their plan or lineup was last season. Now, I found this one online. I was very happy that I didn't have to make it myself. I found this, and all players are included, even the 2 extra goalies, Lolina, and I personally don't know him, but it doesn't matter. Now, I did change this, so I'm going to divide these players into 5 categories from priority to release them. And with release them, I mean I don't ever want to see them wearing a Chelsea kit again. We have keep, so players that can start, backup, like keep them, but they're not really going to start or make a difference next season. And sell is like, man, you can go, but I don't hate you, but you're not it. So let's just start in this order. I think they're not even ordered by position. So first of all, Josh Achampong, keep, but is he a starter? I don't know, because people hype him and then he plays sometimes and he does well. But that's it. He also doesn't have the trust of all managers. Maresca said he's a key part of this project. Don't sell him, and then he doesn't play that much. So it's still hard for me to know, is he really that guy? Of course, he's still very young. Right back, center back, what's his best position? So for now, keep. But obviously, also think next season, even if Alonso opts for a 3 at the back, I don't know if that extra spot means he'll get more game time. Tossen, between sell and release them. Tossen, I remember, was against. He played one horrendous game this season, and when he comes on, he's just not it. He's what, 1 meter 95, and he loses aerial duels against smaller strikers. I don't rate him at all. He was good for the group feeling. He's friends with Palmer, etc. But that's it. Release him. Badiashile, sell. He played some games against Liverpool. He came in earlier this season and he did well. But then fall out. He's also someone who makes mistakes. He's just not the level you want for a top Premier League club. So sell him. Moises Caicedo, obviously priority. He was the best defensive midfielder in the world in my opinion at the start of the season. But like almost the entire team, he dropped away in form and he had some very poor games. Remember the red card against Arsenal or the goal he gave away against City. So yeah, he's not the best defensive midfielder in the world, but I believe in a good team, he can really do his job. And surely, again, if Alonso plays with a 3 at the back and needs double pivot or a 2-man midfield, him and Enzo can really do the job and be one of the best midfielders in the world. So surely keep him. Then we have Chalobah. I wanted to say Lavia, but Chalobah, of course, I'd say keep. He's been at the club for a while. Of course, he had a loan spell at Crystal Palace, but apart from that, he's been at the club for a while. I don't think many fans hate him. He's just not an elite centre back, but for a backup, he's totally fine to have in the squad. Colwill, priority. Between keep and priority, because of course we've seen the best of Colwill already 1.5 years ago, but I believe he's a left-footed centre back. I believe the only left-footed centre back in the squad, so you surely need him in a 3 at the back. So surely keep priority. Correa has of course been sold to Real Madrid. Mixed feelings. He's a solid left back. Do we really need him? I don't know. So I'm fine with him being sold to Real Madrid. I expected the fee to be higher though because Chelsea bought him for more, but it is what it is. Not even going to talk about that. Obviously, Liam Delap has to be sold as soon as possible. He had more elbows and red cards and goal contributions this season. Asucho, I guess sell or loan. He has no game minutes and he has no future in this team. It's a bit of the same situation as Lavia. Like, they're good players, but you have Enzo and Caicedo, you're not going to play. And it's not like Enzo, maybe with the rumors to Real Madrid, etc., he might leave, but Caicedo is not going to leave anytime soon, so you're not going to play. Just get yourself to maybe a mid-table club, or at least a club where you can play. So Estudio, I don't know. Estevao, priority. He had a rough season because he had to adapt to European football, suffered several injuries, but for example against Barcelona, he showed what he can do. He surely has potential to be that guy, to be the Lamine Yamal of the Premier League or whatever you want to name it. So surely keep him. But again, next season I also don't think we can have him as a starter for the entire season. Even though there's no European football, you know, in English football you have this cup, that cup, games 3 times a week. So I don't think he can start everything, but he'll surely be involved more than this season, I believe. Enzo Fernandez priority. And I want to make this straight. Yes, I'm an Enzo Fernandez fanboy. I have him on the back of the shirt. He's maybe my favorite player, but he is crucial to this Chelsea plan. Surely when a team is not doing well or Enzo has like 1 or 2 bad games, you see half of Twitter or half of social media saying, oh, Enzo, what is he doing? He was not worth the price, sell him. And then he has a good game and everyone says, oh, make him captain, what he gives to the team is incredible. And yes, he has worse games like the entire team, but I think Enzo has been one of the most consistent players for Chelsea this year. Surely with Maresca and Rosinha, obviously was not a fan of him. But again, he did what he needed to do. He was flirting with a move to Real Madrid. I know his relationship with the club is not 100% anymore, but he is key in that midfield. He can play as a 6, he can play as an 8, he can play box to box, he can play as a 10 as he did, he can play on the left as he did some games and also did for Argentina this World Cup. He is so versatile and so important. He can adapt to a position that the coach wants him to play so easily. He needs to be in this project. If you believe Enzo shouldn't be part of this project, or if you think that Enzo is not good enough for this team or can be replaced by some Bruno Guimaraes or whatever you want in this Premier League, you're just wrong. And that's not even my opinion. This is my take. If you don't believe in that, just leave the video already. That's just my only strong opinion I have in the squad. Wesley Fofana, Backup, I mean, have him there, but he's not going someone you want to start every game. Garnacho, release them. There were rumors lately from Fabrizio that yeah, he's not untouchable. Chelsea will sell him if there's an opportunity. So buy Gittins, backup. Oh, where is he? Backup. Was injured for the majority of the season. Didn't play much. Keep him. I'm sure he has a dribble, a nice action in it, but we didn't see it so far. Please release them, and not because I don't like you, but he needs game time. We loaned him out to Sunderland, then the lab suffered an injury. We said come back, and he played one game. So that's just very disrespectful for him and for his development. So please, for the player's sake, just sell him and let him play somewhere. Gusto keep, even Gusto surely keep, because of course we signed Palestri, but Gusto as a right back, as a right midfielder, we can always use him, and he's just a very good backup. I would understand if he says I want to play regularly sometimes somewhere, which is understandable, but I would surely keep him if he's like okay with being a backup slash starter. Hato surely keep as a backup. You can maybe even start against lower ranked teams, because I really like him and I really think he has potential. Reece James, crucial priority. Don't think I have to explain that. Best right back in the world. I don't want to hear no names like Timber or Hakimi. I mean, Hakimi's more close than Timber, but he's just the best right back in the world. You can have a team full of Reece James and you're still going to finish top 10 in the Premier League. Philippe Jorgensen released them. Sorry, nothing personal. Maybe it is personal, but what you did against PSG was outrageous. Thanks to Rossinier as well, but that was just outrageous. Lavia, backup, but sell. I really like Lavia because he's just a mini Caicedo. He also has that in him. He's maybe even a little bit more attacking than Caicedo. Caicedo tries to improve his line breaking passes and his long balls, but Lavia has that natural in him, I feel like. But he's injured every other then, and with Caicedo and Enzo like Estudio, he's not going to play. Mudryk, he's still on Chelsea's payroll, but I'm not really following any updates on his case. I guess he's just still not active next season. Neto, keep him as backup just because he's been a part of the Chelsea team for 2 or 3 years. He probably has good relationship with the majority of the players, but he's also an Arsenal player. Like, he's the next Madueke. If Arsenal come knocking for him for 40 million, ship him over to the other side of London. Cole Palmer, keep. Might be a little bit controversial that I don't set him in the highest order. Palmer has a potential. He showed it for 2 seasons long with crazy numbers. Okay, he takes penalties, but he showed crazy numbers as a pretty young player. This season he disappointed. Yes, he was injured twice. Yes, he has that chronically groin injury or something. Did he get surgery? I don't remember. But it was a disappointing season, and I feel like he can't carry a team anymore like he used to in the 2022-23 and 2023-24 season, or is it one season later? I don't remember. In my opinion, a creative player like him is more replaceable than someone like Reece James or Enzo Fernandez in midfield. So that's why I put him in keep. Surely keep him starting, but if he doesn't start performing again, then yeah, he doesn't have to be in the lineup. It's not like massive things will change without him. It's just you don't have his qualities anymore. João Pedro, priority and keep. Top 5 strikers in the world. Did crazy numbers in his first season at Chelsea. Great player. Is not only a finisher, can hold up the ball, played as a number 10 some games. He has the technique, he has that jogger in him. I really like seeing him play, so surely keep him and start him. Robert Sanchez. I love him, I hate him. I love him, but I hate him. Keep. We have Mike Panners, of course, but it might be too early for him, so maybe you have to start Robert Sanchez again next season. It's okay, it's fine, but not for the long term. Andre Santos is off to Manchester United, not officially confirmed yet, but it's a done deal according to Fabrizio, etc. So he's gone. Mixed feelings with his departure. I'm really surprised a team like Manchester United want him. Obviously he has qualities, but is he going to start at Man U? I don't know. They signed Ederson, of course. Are they on the same level? I don't know. I'm curious to see how he will perform at United. Sarr, backup. He had a stinker against PSG and against Arsenal, but I don't know why Rossinier lined him up in that important game. He just got back from Strasbourg. I know we needed players at the back because we had injuries, etc. But yeah, he lined him up. His first Premier League game against Arsenal or against PSG. Yeah, well done. And then these 2 are not needed, of course. So we have 6 priority players, and then 10 players I would desperately sell. 2, 4, 6. Now 8 players I would desperately sell. yeah, this is my list of Chelsea last season. Now, if we have a look at transfer market to look at Chelsea, their signings already and players that they sold. It's transfer window, of course. It's very possible that 2 days after this video they announce a signing or announce an important departure. We don't know. It's the transfer window. So a lot of players came back from loan, including Nicholas Jackson, Mike Penders, Tyreek George, Disasi, Anselmino, and Fofana. The majority of these players are not part of the plans anymore, including Fofana. Disasi, George has already been sold on a permanent deal to Everton, and Nicholas Jackson, they're not part of the plans. They won't have any place in Xabi Alonso's squad. Anselmino, I don't know about him. He had a great, he suffered a lot of injuries at Dortmund, but he had some great games. He was a starter at Dortmund, then he got called back and immediately loaned out to Strasbourg. Very weird. I don't know how he did at Strasbourg, but I think he has potential, but not next season. Maybe loan him out again. Penders, future goalkeeper, possibly. And that are the players that came back from loan. Then we signed Palestra. I didn't know, did I say Pellegrini or something at the early in the video? That's possible. Palestra, I didn't know him, to be honest. He was at Atalanta. Inter was also after him, but Chelsea signed him for 57 million, which is a big fee. He's a right back, can also play right wing because right midfielder, or right wing back, because the majority of the Serie A plays 3-5-2 or 3 at the back. So a great signing. I don't know him as mentioned, but 57 million is not a small amount. Of course, Kenda from Sporting was already announced 2 seasons ago. Very weird, but he's a young winger, has potential. I've also saw the clips on Twitter of his dribbles, but every player has that good moments. And then this guy I was talking about, Denner, left back from Corinthians, 18 years old, 10 million. He will be loaned out to Strasbourg, I guess, or back to Brazil, I don't know. And then we have those player from Uzbekistan, I wanted to say Kazakhstan. I heard they signed him, but I completely forgot about him. 2.4 million, 18 years old. He might even play for the second team of Chelsea or be loaned out somewhere. He's not going to have a role next season. And then Emega was also already announced, I mean back in the winter maybe, that he was going to sign for Chelsea. Mixed feelings. He's another striker that's not a top striker. Yes, he has potential. Yes, he's still young. But who knows, this is another Liam Delap situation. And that's the least or the last thing we want. So from this list, Palestra, Kenda and Emega are the only players that will really have an influence next season. And maybe Penders as well. Now outgoing, the list is pretty small. We have Cucurella, of course, for 55 million to Real Madrid. And George for 21 million and a big sell-on clause to Everton. So on the outgoing side, it's pretty silent still. Considering that, I'll show it quickly, they have a pretty big squad for this season, or I don't really even have to show it because I have it right here. So this is currently the squad Chelsea has, and it is a lot. Maybe it doesn't seem like a lot because I split it in every category for every position, but it's a lot. So we have 3 goalies, of course we have more, but I'm not going to include all the goalies. We have a lot of centre backs, then we have our left backs or right backs, midfielders, wingers and strikers. Now look at the amount of strikers, wingers and centre backs we have. Surely a lot of people have to go. Centre backs, 3 or 4 players at least have to go. Striker, at least 3 players have to go. Wingers, at least half of them have to go. Yeah, I included Banner here. I included Fofana. Obviously they are going to be loaned out, sold, or not part of the first team. But just see how big the squad is. It is not big as people or the media on transfer market on the Instagram post, or Chelsea has 100 players. Not like that, but it's still a pretty big squad and bigger compared to other Premier League clubs. And here's the lineup. So Xabi Alonso, obviously he's a fan of a 3 at the back system. He did it at Bayer Leverkusen, and at a short period at Real Madrid he also tried to do that. I would prefer to see Chelsea play a 4 at the back, but if it's his system and it's his philosophy, he wants to play that way, I'm totally fine with him playing a 3 at the back. Obviously he can play with 2 strikers and 1 attacking midfielder, or he can play with 1 striker and 2 sort of hybrid pocket players, attacking midfielder, winger, someone like Neto or Estevao. But yeah, I believe Robert Sanchez will be the first goalkeeper, with Penders being his backup. I don't expect Chelsea to sign a new goalie. They were linked with Mignon last summer, but that didn't go through, so I also don't think they want to sign a new goalkeeper now unless there's a crazy opportunity. And then a 3 at the back, where there are many questions, because are you going to play with a right back or left back in the 3 at the back, which is totally fine, but that just is a big question, and if you don't have an answer to that question, it's very difficult to place names on that 3 spots. Obviously, we need at least one new centre back. Bastoni has been linked. Who has been linked? Van de Ven? Was it Van de Ven? I don't remember. A lot of players are being linked constantly. Colwell will surely start either central or on the left. He can also play centrally, which would maybe even be better, but then we need Hato or another left-footed centre back on the left. I wouldn't mind seeing Hato start at left centre back because, as mentioned, I really like him and his development. But then we desperately need another starter at left midfielder, unless Xabi Alonso wants to turn Neto or Garnacho or Estevao into a wing back, which I don't really think he'll do. If you look at the right side, you signed Palestri. Where are you going to play? In this formation, you only have 2 midfielders. You can't play Enzo here. You don't have the room, or you have too much attacking depth to bench Palmer or play Palmer alongside Joao Pedro and then have Reece James in midfield. You have too many players up front to be doing that. So Enzo and Caicedo are locked here. You can't fit Enzo into that midfield, and I also think in a 3 at the back in this double pivot play style, James will be that good in midfield and in a 4-3-3. So Palestri on the right and Reece James in the back 3, which is totally fine. You're only going to miss his attacking involvement a little bit, which is pretty sad to see because he has that attacking involvement, but it is what it is. If you look at top, obviously we start Joao Pedro, no questions asked. And then yeah, we have a lot of options. Estevao, Pedro Neto, Kanda, Garnacho, all these players. Palmer will surely start. I believe he's still an important player, and Xabi will see him as an important player for this team. So he'll surely start, but as mentioned, we can see Joao Pedro, lone striker, and then Palmer and Estevao. But I don't believe there are many more options. As mentioned, the only option that makes a lot of difference in this scenario is that he wants to turn a winger into a wingback like Pedro Neto. I've seen a lot of predictions on social media where people think he will do that, but I doubt that will happen. Pedro Neto is also more a right winger, and we signed Palestri, so I doubt he'll be transformed into a left wingback. So this is basically the Chelsea I expect to see next season. After all, not that many changes. Two big changes. Maybe a third centre back will be another centre back will be signed, which will be the third change, or maybe another striker. Who knows who Chelsea signed? But I don't expect massive changes. The changes that need to happen right now for Chelsea are stability. Have this manager for 3 years. If you don't perform next season, obviously the board will say you need to qualify for Champions League. But if we even finish 5th or 6th, we're building something. Don't sack Alonso when there's one bad game, or when there's a rough month or whatever, or if they lose to a championship team in the Carabao Cup. Nobody wants to see him sacked. Same thing with Enzo Maresca. I don't believe one single fan wanted him to be gone. Of course, they were clashing with the board, but it is what it is. So we need stability, a manager for a long term, and also players for a long term. Because we see after such a shit season with a shit manager like Rossinier, Enzo is like, I'm not going to be stuck here for another years. Because I remember saying to people, Enzo was really mad with Rossinier and with Jorgensen after that PSG game after they eliminated Chelsea in the Champions League. I was thinking, Enzo, it's the second time he played Champions League in 4.5 years with Chelsea. The first time was his first season, obviously, and this was the second time. He did not win a World Cup, carry this Chelsea side, okay, carry is a big word, but be important for this Chelsea side for 4 seasons, to then finally be in a knockout stage in the World Cup, in the Champions League, for then not experienced manager experimenting with a random goalie, the backup goalie, in a game against PSG, but they could have even got a result because they almost drew away against PSG. They were like 2-2 until the 85th minute, so maybe they got a result, and then at home, who knows? But no, they got smacked with 3 goals at the end, and then at home they also embarrassed themselves. So for key players like Enzo, and even for Caicedo, for Joao Pedro, for Reece James maybe even he might be considering, like, if Chelsea's not moving anywhere, maybe for my career I have to move on. So that will be very important. So this was a bit my coverage of Chelsea. I believe I yapped a lot, maybe talked a bit more, or repeated a lot of things that shouldn't be repeated, but it is what it is. I hope you enjoyed this video. Going to try to make one video every week, not about a team or club. Maybe next week when the World Cup ends I can make a video about that, because obviously I watch a lot of games of the World Cup. make a best 11 or underrated 11, stuff like that. Let me know in the comments what you want to see. I want to thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye.